So I'm gonna start. Could you tell me about kind of the process of kind of how does it go when you have the sparkle of an idea and when you come to execution? Kind of how tell me about the road.
Well, like I said, that all of our projects, they start from, of course, that we make remarks of our environment and about how we feel about things. Mostly it's something like you start to something starts to take over your mind, like, you know, it starts to follow you. Actually, this time I'm thinking that I should make a project about plastic surgeries, because every morning I wake up and I go to the mirror and I feel like, you know, shit, I should do something. And I think that that's wrong, that I feel like that. You know, every morning I feel like that, but I feel like, you know, I need to stop myself. Stop it. And I think that contradiction is interesting. So, you know, that's how everything is always started. Like you see something, you do something, you see, like, you know, and then it like puzzles you. And then you start to think like, okay, how could I make a statement about this? How could we make research about this? Of course, then you start to also like find information about it. And then in the end, like as you saw, most of our artistic outcomes are pretty like smooth in a way. It's not like
It's solid.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, it doesn't have any haziness, or it's pretty like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yes.
To kind of come to that form. Kind of it looks really easy, but it's not.
It's a lot of work there behind. Well, I think that it's because we're dealing with statement, and if you want to make a statement, the statement needs to be pretty clear. You know, if you're making a statement and nobody understands what you're saying, you know, it's not a statement really. So then the visual statement needs to be also pretty clear what we really want to say. Of course, some might say that, okay, but that's boring. You know, it's as if, you know, you see the statement and then then you swallow it and that's it, and you can go on with your life. That is also true. It might be very boring because, you know, you don't need to be there like for hours and, you know, wonder, what does she really mean with this? Like not for hours. You can, you know, you get it like, oh, wow, okay. But as an educator, because we are educators too, I think it's pretty, it's not always like that, but I think it's important if you're trying to give a message, try to be as clear as possible with it. And when you're making visual statements, there is also always a factor of uncertainty, because people also always perceive things a little bit differently.
Now, I have the mic.
Oh! How does it work?
You can just keep it in the lap and just talk.
Talk to the black spot.
Yeah, you can just leave it there, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask about the Monarchy project, because for me it seemed like, or I would like to know, because you were already breaking like the norms and the roles, why was at least that woman in the picture styled so like traditionally feminine? Like she wears makeup, she's posing in this feminine way, and for me it's actually supporting the picture of fitting into that role of a woman and that certain picture of a woman, like passing, even though you don't have only one breast, even though you don't have hair, you should pass by wearing makeup and posing like this.
This is a good question, and the thing is that when we started to create the concept, we were actually we wanted to have the whole exhibition in the first place as billboards. So it was a very conscious decision to make the photographs look as much as same as commercial advertisements that we see on the street. Because the idea was that, you know, you walk by a picture that looks almost the same as that you are used to see the H&M and advertisements. You walk past that and then you're like, oh, what a cool picture. And then you're like, oh, but you know, oh, but there was something wrong. What's wrong with this? And then you come back and then you realize that, oh, you know, this woman is not under 18. She's not anorectic, she's single-breasted, and she still looks great. So that was the whole idea about it. And I think if you really want to make a statement in the way that people they are not too shocked about it, so that they can really like swallow it. If you want to make them really change the way that they think, you don't want to go there and slap them in the face like this, bah, fuck you. You want to take them into your world and talk with them about, like, okay, so what do you see in this picture? So that's the way that you can really have more social impact and influence. If we would have the pictures, like showing the horrors of cancer, the suffering of a woman in a very sad and like brutal pictures, I do not think that this would have become a social movement around the world, the whole thing. Did this answer your question? And oh yeah, one thing that I want to say also, that the process that how the women came into our project is that we had our first model. We asked her from the Finnish Breast Cancer Association, the society or no association, and because we went to and talked with them and said, we are doing this project, maybe you could help us with like finding the women to model for us. And then one of the board members said that she can be our first model because we need somebody. And then we took the first picture of Sirpa and then we put it in the Facebook, in the social media, and it started to spread like this. And after that, we didn't have to ask anybody to participate. The women came to us. That we had like 20 or 30 emails in our email next day asking like, can I participate? Can I be the model? And then we just took the first 9 ones. We didn't do any curating when it comes to the size or to the age or to your body type or the color of your hair or whatever. So we didn't go into that at all. There it comes.
So were the women involved in the styling process of the project, or was it all like coming from you and the designers?
It depended on the model a lot. There were models who really wanted to have a word on how they want to look like, and there was designers also who really wanted to collaborate with the model, asking like, what is the stuff that you like, what is the colors that you like, what is the flowers that you really like, so what kind of clothes you feel good about yourself. But then there was also models and designers who felt like, we don't really need to do this. I will give the responsibility to the designer to design a kind of bathing suit, and I will, just carry it as it is. But it really depended on the person or the designer. So it was it was not as like, this is how we do it every time. But yeah, it's a good question.
Ms. Barbara in the back. Raise your hand.
Since you're both mothers, I was wondering how does your work influence raising your children, and are they involved in this? Like, how do you explain it to them? And are they like aware of breaking taboos or?
Well, first of all, I think that my children are going to watch this from YouTube afterwards. To give my answer. So my children are already 14 and 11, so they are very aware of using all kinds of social medias. Well, it affects in this way that, not so long ago, I was very, very pissed off with my oldest boy. I was like, I do not accept this kind of behavior. I do not like what you did. I'm almost like ashamed of what you did. And then he's confronting me. He's like, hey, you're the woman who is making like pussy hair underpants. Who should be ashamed here? So this is how it affects. But really, of course, as characters, as how we are, of course, what we think about things, of course, it affects our parenthood too. And I think that my children are pretty aware of things, but they are also as dumb as everybody. So it's I'm pretty normal, and they are pretty normal too. But of course, they know what we do, and then sometimes it's. I think that maybe it's hard for them to explain to their friends like what we are doing. But for example, now that we had an exhibition in the Gallery Hippolute just last month about, we were making this project with the foster home teenagers, and there was a photographic exhibition of that. So we also took our children and their classmates and everybody to the exhibition, so that they know more what we really do.
But do you think they are more open-minded than like their peers?
I don't know. It might be, as you know, like when you grow up, you also always need to be the opposite of your parents. So I think that my children will be fundamentalist, religious people, So that might be the outcome. I cannot say. I hope that they would be, but I cannot really. say how it ends up.
Are there like any social norms or other phenomena that you would have really likened to approach or take on through art during your years that you've been active, but that you simply never had time or resources to do, and that you kind of regret afterwards now that like, damn, I hope I would have taken a stand on this?
There is one project that we have been trying to execute for a couple of years already, and it's about female sexuality. And we have found out that it's really hard to get funding for that. So that's something that we are still working on, and we really hope that something will come out of that, as we know that we live in a double standard culture where men can, sorry men, I'm not trying to be judgmental to you, it's not your fault. So because of the historical facts from the Victorian ages of England and all that crap, we are living in a society where men are more allowed to perform their sexuality publicly than women. You know, if women do that, we become sluts in everybody's eyes. So that is something that we've been working on for a couple of years already, and we've been trying to get funding from it from every public funding organization that we have here in Finland, but for a reason or another, we did not get funding for it yet. But I think it's such a taboo also, and I think that the way that we talk about it is too shocking for some people. If I read about my funding applications now, it might be for somebody like, oh my God, what is this about? Like, I don't want to even read about this. So I hope that we can do it someday.
So I have a question of how you fund your projects and if you have done some crowdfunding as well.
No, we haven't done any. Well, we have actually tried to do one crowdfunding campaign last year ago, summertime, with Monokini 2.0. We didn't success. No success with that. And basically, how we fund our project is that we most of the stuff we do for free, and then we teach, and then also we get public funding from for example, from the Arts Promotion Center of Finland, or like the Monokini was funded by Kone Foundation. And so there is public funds where we apply funding from. But I don't know if there is any artist amongst there. Everybody knows that it's really hard work and a lot of competition there from the small amount of money that there is. So we really want to do this work. It's not as if we did get rich with this ever, and I don't think that we will ever get.
There's still time for a last question.
Now it's time. Now I hope you ask something shocking. It's the time for the shocking question.
No. My question was: have you had or heard experiences of these single-breasted women wearing the bathing suits, like in everyday life, bathing in the monokinis, or are there people out there bathing in the monokinis?
I know, like one of the women who modeled for us, and also who was actually who had the initial approach to a contact to us, who sent us the email. She had wore this kind of a bathing suit that she had designed for herself, and no, not very shocked reactions, I think, really, honestly. And I think that this is a good, also a good question in the sense that it brings me into thinking that, like, the Western culture is so taboo and taboo free. I mean, like, it's really hard to like us to be shocked by anything anymore. We are so like we are fed with all kinds of like images of violence and misjustice, and like there isn't really any such like real taboo that, you know, we would like go on barricades or protest in the streets, say like this is not right. I think that Western culture is really shock-free area in the end.
Thank you.
Thank you.